Indiana has won the national championship. An amazing season for them, going through Alabama, going through Oregon, going through Miami to win the national championship. 16-0. This team was an absolute wagon all season. And that means that the Big Ten has now won 3 straight national championships. You had Michigan, you had Ohio State, now you have Indiana. Actually, I saw something where the national championships, the last 3 of them, have come in a little radius that is 300 miles apart. So, congratulations to Illinois or Indiana or Ohio State or Michigan or even Wisconsin. You're probably going to win the next national championship. But in this video, I want to talk about the Big Ten as a whole. Has the Big Ten taken over college football? Is this their playground now? For years, it used to be the SEC. The SEC ran everything because it just means more in the SEC. But it seems like ever since NIL and the transfer portal came to be, things are now running through the Big Ten. Yes, the SEC has good teams, but it seems like the creme de la creme, the best of the best, the greatest teams reside in the Big Ten. So let's talk about that today in this video. Hey, before we do that, make sure you guys are checking out all of our short form content. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. You guys know where to find us. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. You guys have been blowing it up lately. We are getting very, very close to 10,000 subscribers. I got to say thank you guys so much. You guys are helping me out a ton. I love it. And check out our website as well, hailmary.media. Read some blogs over there. Hang out. It's a good time. Yeah, appreciate you guys so much. Check us out everywhere. Now, before we argue who really owns college football, there are some things that we have to define, which we need to define owns. How are we going to talk about who owns college football? Because it can mean many different things. So is it trophies? Is it having depth? Is it NFL talent? Is it money? Is it who that controls the playoffs every single year? We need to talk about that. So we're going to break it down with 4 different categories. Number 1 is going to be titles. Number 2 is going to be the top end teams in college football. Number 3, we're going to talk about depth. So that's kind of like the top 25 of college football. And then we're going to talk about power. So this is money. This is playoff influence. So we're going to break that down just so it doesn't seem like this is a rah-rah, I love the Big Ten video, which I do. But we will give the SEC its flowers. So let's talk about the title aspect of college football. So for the past 3 years, the Big Ten has owned college football, winning 3 straight titles. Georgia won it before that. Then you had Michigan. Then you had Ohio State. Now you have Indiana. And this, again, isn't something like Alabama, who completely owned the sport for years. And then it seemed like Georgia completely owning the sport for years. This seems like it is there's a lot of parity in the Big Ten where one team's good, another team's good, but another team gets better. And then the same thing happened this year where Ohio State was good, Oregon was good, but Indiana was just better. And it seemed like the SEC kind of has been taking a step back ever since we got the transfer portal, ever since we got NIL, because we're not really talking about a dynasty. When people talked about the SEC and they talked about winning championships, first thing that came to your mind was Alabama and their absolute dominant run. Then it goes to Georgia, which they had an absolute dominant run as well. Not taking that away from them. I'm not even saying that they're bad teams now. I'm just saying the Big Ten is caught up. And I think the Big Ten is exceeding what the SEC should be doing in this transfer portal era. You have people like Nick Saban being like, well, nobody wants to play in the North. That's why everybody's going there because of the transfer portal and NIL, because you have to pay them to play there. Who cares? They're winning football games. That's really all that matters. So the SEC, yes, they still are getting awesome recruits. They have teams like LSU and Texas who are spending $50 million per year. But the Big Ten now has deep pockets. You got Mark Cuban, you got Phil Knight, you have Larry Ellison, deep, deep pockets. And sure, I get it. You have past glory if you're an SEC fan being like, hey, people come down here because they want to play real football. They love the programs. They want to be part of winning culture, and they want to play in a great conference. That's fine. Guess how you build to that? You get good players through NIL. You get good players through the transfer portal. Then more players see, oh, wait, the Big Ten is making moves. And then they all move up to the Big Ten. That is exactly what is happening right now. That is exactly what is happening. And that is why the last 3 national championships have gone through the Big Ten. And it seemingly looks like it could go through it again. Indiana's getting even better, it seems like. Ohio State is looking like they're getting even better. They poached a ton of players away from Alabama. And then you have Oregon, who is seemingly getting better. Now, I'm not saying Texas isn't getting better, LSU isn't getting better, but this is a combination of the Big Ten taking over, taking control of college football. And it's not like Indiana's run this year was something that was like, oh, they barely squeaked by. No, no, no. This was like a violent crime scene. They dragged you through the mud. They made you submit. Alabama absolutely destroyed. Alabama, yes, they had a down year. They are still one of the top teams in the SEC. Indiana made them look silly. Oregon, who is a team who is at the top of the Big Ten. Again, the Big Ten, who has just won 3 straight championships. Indiana made them look silly, dropping 56 points on them. That, like, it's absurd. And then, obviously, they go to Miami, play Miami in their home stadium. Yes, Indiana was the home team. It was a home game for Miami, and they get the job done 27-21. And I feel that if that game was played anywhere else but Miami, literally anywhere else, Indiana probably wins that game by 14 points because Miami has everybody in attendance who's basically rooting for them. They have the home field advantage. You know, they feel good. When you feel good, you play good. And you know how it goes, the Deion Sanders quote. Indiana got the job done. Yes, they were the home team, but they beat Miami in their home stadium. And if Indiana can make a turnaround like this, because again, like I said, the Big Ten has deep pockets. I'm not saying the SEC doesn't. I'm not saying the Big 12 doesn't with all this oil money. But it just seems like the best teams are in the Big Ten right now, and anybody can make a switch. Who's to say that Penn State, with their new coaching staff, bringing over everybody from Iowa State, they have Matt Campbell now, who's to say that they can't make a run? Who's to say they can't? Who knows? I mean, listen, I'm not saying that a Big Ten team is going to take over this year and also win the national championship, because I can fully see Texas, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, somebody like that winning the national championship. But as of right now, as it stands, this isn't just a Cinderella run. This is SEC teams and other programs. Again, this isn't just about the SEC. It's mostly about the SEC. But this is about the Big Ten physically dominating their way to national championships. Now let's talk about the depth of the conferences. So when you look at the final AP poll for 2025-2026, the SEC had 7 teams in the top 25, and the Big Ten had 6 teams in the top 25. And I get that the whole argument sometimes with the SEC is like, well, we're deeper, we have better teams, we beat up on each other every week, there's no gimme games in the SEC. But, you know, it seems like that the top-end teams all reside in the Big Ten. So, yes, the SEC, I guess, per se, has more depth. Because I'm not saying that they don't have absolute weapons as, like, their second stringers. There are some second stringers on Alabama, Georgia, LSU, who would be starters on, like, Rutgers or Northwestern. I'm not saying that. The depth in the SEC is incredible. But it seems like the top-end teams all reside in the Big Ten. So that is one thing that I will give to the SEC. There is no day off. Vanderbilt is good. Missouri's good. It doesn't matter who you play. Mississippi State at any point could beat you. While whenever you're looking at the Big Ten, yeah, Northwestern seems like a day off. Rutgers seems like a day off. There are some teams in there. UCLA seems like a day off. But when it comes to the top-end teams, I'm giving the edge to the Big Ten. But when I'm talking about the conference as a whole, I will give the edge to the SEC. So they're not, the Big Ten isn't running college football based on the depth. They're running it based on the big names at the top. The Oregons, the Ohio States, the Indianas, and I guess sometimes when Michigan decides that they want to be good and they don't want to cheat on their wife. Now, another thing, you have to take into account that the SEC has the absolute media machine on their side, who is ESPN. It seems like anytime something happens with the Big Ten, with the ACC, with the Big 12, somebody at ESPN has to interject themselves and make it all about the SEC. Mainly Paul Feinbaum, which, if Paul Feinbaum actually watched college football and actually enjoyed the sport, he would be so mad about that game last night, watching Indiana go 16-0. But I'm convinced that that man doesn't actually watch college football. He is just a mouthpiece for the SEC, and he has zero idea what he's talking about. And then you also have, on top of that, Ryan Clark saying that Miami is basically an extension of an SEC team. Like, it is absurd to me. The SEC, I think, gets so much driven through them based on, oh, hey, this team is incredibly good because of how much media backing they have to them. Alabama this year struggled. They were not the Alabama that we're used to seeing, but yet through that SEC media machine, which is ESPN, they were able to sneak their way into the playoffs, when I personally think that Notre Dame probably should have been in ahead of them. BYU definitely should have been in ahead of them. But because of the media machine and, like I said, the depth. Yes, the depth in the SEC is good, but you take the depth, you take the media machine. That's one of the reasons why these top teams in the SEC are staying at the top, when the Big Ten seemingly has to earn it. So if you look at the revenue from because if you look at the revenue as well, though, because you take the absolute media machine that the SEC has, the Big Ten is actually making more money. Now, yes, they have more teams right now, but the revenue from 2023 to 2024, it was reported that the Big Ten generated over $900 million, while the SEC generated $840 million. The Big Ten also signed an incredibly lucrative deal with Fox, CBS, and NBC, $8 billion over 7 years. So the Big Ten is now getting their own media machine to keep up with what was going on with ESPN. And honestly, if you ask me, and this is a little bit biased, I feel ESPN is on the downfall while Fox is on the uptick. I think people are getting sick of how ESPN is presenting itself, how ESPN is presenting games. Like yesterday, people clown me for this, but the game was supposed to kick off yesterday at 7:30. We didn't kick off until like 8 o'clock. And everyone's like, oh, you gotta go to bed? Oh, you tired? No, it's just when you say something, do it. But they have to make sure they get their commercials in and all their jabs in. I get that people are upset at Fox about Big Noon Kickoff and whatnot, but it seems like even from a presentation angle, people are happier with where the Big Ten is than they are the SEC. And because of the Big Ten generating all this money and all these teams are getting a cut of that, the Big Ten has more money to spend on players. Now, yes, it's not a huge jump. It's about $80 million, which in the grand scheme of things is absolutely nothing. But $80 million can build an incredible roster for some teams. Now, yes, it's split up, but $5 million that if each team would get in the Big Ten, that can land you an easy 5-star transfer. So, again, the SEC is not poor. The Big Ten is not overly spending based on the SEC. But the Big Ten, with the media that they're getting through Fox and with people not really liking the media machine of the SEC, the Big Ten's able to keep up. Now, listen, with all that being said, is this just a 3-year heater for the Big Ten? Is this just, hey, they had the best team in Michigan? Now, you could also say that Michigan cheated, so we'll talk about that. Listen, I'm an Ohio State fan, so we could talk about Michigan cheating, and maybe we should just say this is a 2-year heater, but they did win the national championship. You have Ohio State, you have Indiana, and then Michigan won it that 1 year. Is this just a 3-year heater for the Big Ten? Or is this something that is going to become sustainable? Because Indiana is getting better. Ohio State is getting better. Listen, Michigan, I think, is a lot better right now with Kyle Whittingham as their head coach than it was Sharon Moore. I don't think Sharon Moore was a good coach whatsoever. So a lot of people were saying, like, oh, this is fluke territory and you guys are just buying your championships. A lot of that is coming from the SEC media machine, Paul Feinbaum and Ryan Clark and whoever else. But I don't really think that this is just a 3-year run. I think that the next national champion we get will not be from an SEC team. It could be ACC, it could be Big 12, it could be Big 10, probably not Pac 12, but I think that college football as a whole has caught up to the SEC. I'm not here making any assumptions that, hey, the SEC has been paying players for years, even before NIL, and that's why they were getting all the best players. I'm not saying that, but the argument could be made. The case could be made because if you have Nick Saban saying, hey, nobody wants to play in the North and you have to pay them to go to the North. Well, see, obviously they want to play there. Like, there are still kids committing there. There were always 5 stars committing to Ohio State. People wanted to play there, but were there a million other reasons? A million other paper reasons why people were going to the SEC, aside from you being the best conference and having the best teams every year and going to the national championship? Was it a hand-in-hand situation that you were able to be the best conference? You were able to go to the national championship every year because you paid players. I'm not saying it. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just throwing it out there into the universe. My question for all of you, is this just a 3-year heater for the Big Ten? Or are we going to see sustainability from teams like Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan, Oregon, USC? Who is going to be the next team to win the national championship? Will it be an SEC team? Do you think that Lane Kiffin will get that natty? Do you think that a team like Texas will win it with Arch Manning? Or do you think it's going through the Big Ten again? This isn't supposed to be, I know it's going to be coming off as a hit piece towards the SEC. It's really not. It's more so me talking about how the Big Ten has just kind of gotten their juice back and how everything ran through the Big Ten, and the Big Ten was always kind of the little brother for years to the SEC. Yes, they would have teams who would win it here and there, but when push came to shove, the SEC seemingly owned the sport of college football. And this is just the Big Ten fighting back. I'm not saying the Big Ten was the little guy. Now, if like the Big 12 ended up doing this, then yeah, that's the little guy. But I'm saying the Big Ten has now fought back, and the Big Ten has now staked their dominance within college football. So my question to you, who do you have winning the next national championship? Will it be an SEC team, or will it be another Big Ten team, or will it even be an ACC or Big 12? Hell, maybe even a Pac-12 team. Let me know what you think. I'm very excited for the future of college football. I know a lot of people hate it. A lot of people are very mad about the whole transfer portal thing and the expansion of the playoff, which that's a whole video in itself. If you guys want me to make a video about this whole college football playoff expansion thing, I definitely can, because I got some thoughts about that. But I love college football. It's the best sport on the planet. You really can't dispute that with me. I think it's so much better than any other sport out there. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for listening to this discussion with me. I just wanted to talk about what is going on in the world of college football and how the Big Ten is taking over, baby. Kind of. So yeah, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you never miss another video. Hit that like button and follow us again on all of our short form platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. You guys know where to find us, and read our latest blogs on hailmary.media. There's a video that I have coming up planned, probably about NFL coaches. I'm thinking about it right now. We'll see. Who knows? I change my ideas day to day. But yeah, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you all hopefully on the short form platforms, hopefully on TikTok. But if I see you in the next video, I will see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.